Wait! What is the tea? The girls are fighting! No! The girls are fighting! Why? Why?
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Rodney, and I'm back. And I wanted to come in and run my mouth and talk about the mess. Now, according to Dame Dash, this is very feminine. So, you talk about another man or another man's pockets. So Dame Dash did an interview at the Breakfast Club. It's like an hour and 18 minutes, I believe. Hour and 20 minutes. I made it to the 50-something minute mark. After that, I was pretty much done. I thought I was going to be upset based off of the clip that went viral with Dame talking about Charlamagne and basically using gay as a slur, going after Charlamagne's sexuality. And then after I watched the interview, I'm really not mad. I'm really not bothered. I do have some things, of course, that I want to say. I'll start out by saying this. The interview was comedy to me. It reminded me of the Housewives. I'm telling y'all, you have to go and watch the interview. It's chaotic. It's a mess. It reminded me of Candace versus Ashley. Kenya versus Nene. Kenya versus Portia. Kenya versus Phaedra. Kenya versus everybody. Okay. Kenya. Kenya versus Bang Bang. It reminded me of Giselle versus Karen. Wendy versus me. It reminded me of Housewives. It almost kind of it kind of also painted a picture of this could be two brothers, right? It gave older brother, younger brother, and who can get in a jab the quickest. That's what it gave. It gave Housewives. It gave Sheree and Marlo. It gave all of that. I'll start off. I'll say this. I learned from my auntie Wendy that before you go into what you really want to say, you got to say something nice. Dame Dash is ignorant. However, he does not come across as this monster. But I guess based off of what he said in the interview, I guess that's how he likes it to be, right? He said in the interview that he takes after Scarface. I believe that's what he referenced. So he wants to appear as this, timid person, but he will bite your head off. So maybe that's something that he does on purpose. He seems like he, would be able to have a good time. He seems like he had, can be a little fun, make jokes here and there, even though the jokes at some point got very repetitive and it was the same thing over. That's all I got to say. I was trying to say something nice. This is the problem, right? And we just gonna talk. I didn't take any notes. I literally just finished watching what I was gonna watch.
I don't think you're a proper representation of the masculine black man. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you guys are.
I'm listening. Okay.
Like, your OG is Wendy Williams. My OG is sitting right here. You see him? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you why he's my OG. Because he killed anybody or any of those things. He just taught me how to be a better man.
Wendy's not my OG.
Can you
That's
stop?
Funny, though.
Can you stop?
Wendy Williams is your OG.
Wasn't she your boss?
Yeah, at one point.
So she was your OG. She put you on, and you should give her grace. And you should also give her props out of respect.
Oh, I do.
Because we have different trauma. Like, we're different. Like, I'm not the kind of guy that would, like, I'd rather get my ass whipped than run. But you're proud that you ran.
Yeah.
I'd rather get my ass whipped. And it ain't no disrespect, but I kind of think you're gay. You just act a little gay.
You got a problem with gay people?
Not at all. I've got a problem with people that pretend they're not gay. So let me tell you why.
But
let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. This is
hilarious. I love what you're doing. This is hilarious.
So what I'm saying is, you might, because you started in gossip, which is, is very feminine, and you want people to listen to you, and that we want people that represent masculinity, because men need to be doing what they need to do as men. They don't need to be worried about girl stuff. Do you think he's masculine? Would you want this man around you if 10 guys jumped you? He'd run, and you'd have to run with him. I like my women to feel safe when they're around me. I don't tell people, and I'm not saying that's your way, but you're just not masculine. I've seen him run. I looked at a whole reel of, there's like a thing that says how many people bark. There's stuff that how many times you talk about other people's genitals. You real masculine men don't do that. You said that some guys was throwing you kisses because they liked your paws butt, and you went back. That's gay.
Why do you have such a problem with gay
I don't have a problem. I have a problem with you. Wait. No. Yeah, that is why I pause. There's a lot of people like you. There's a lot of people like you that are gay that pretend they're not.
Black men can't be gay.
Black men that are gay should say they're gay.
Well, I'm not gay.
You are. You're gay. Anyway. Now let me talk to you. Let me ask you. Let me say this. You acting like a girl.
You move like an old auntie. You an old Harlem auntie.
I could punch you right in your face like a grown man. I won't. And you won't do shit.
See, Dame, this is with the chatty patty. So just so you know, because I knew you was gonna say
that. I've seen you run. That's it. I've seen you. I'm not saying I will. I'm saying no. Then your version of respectful is different than mine. We were on the street right now and you were talking like that. I would have fucked you up. But I'm not gonna do that. Nah, I wouldn't have got beat up. But I wouldn't have got beat up. Let's end this. So let me say one more thing before I leave.
I had so many questions.
All right. Oh, you're right.
How you want to leave? You can't get in your emotions and want to leave, Dane.
No, what I'm saying is, when you interrupt me and you say certain things, where I'm from, the masculine man will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But because let me finish. No, I didn't. I said not gonna happen. I didn't say. I said I could, and you wouldn't do anything.
And we gonna fight.
I didn't see that on tape. You ran.
Yeah, because it was 4 guys, but that's cool.
Wait. Ask what happened when 30 guys jumped me.
Respect.
I got that ass whipping, but I fucked them niggas up.
I think it's been some head trauma ever since.
Yeah. Hey, yo, pause. Come on, man.
I'll start off by saying this. Dame Dash is a man of a particular age. He grew up a certain way, and he still feels that way. He may not be as harsh in what he says, in his delivery, but he still feels a certain way about how a man performs masculinity. If you are gay, you're not masculine. If you are gay, you're pretty much not a man. He's just not around with it. Now, I do have to take this into thought too. I do feel like, because Charlamagne the God is Charlamagne the God, and because I feel like a lot of people don't know this. Charlamagne the God is someone who used to be Wendy Williams' sidekick. Believe it or not, Charlamagne the God was, girl, I used to go up for Wendy and Charlamagne. I've told this story before. Actually, how I got my name is I really referenced Charlamagne. That's how much I used to go up for Wendy and Charlamagne. I was like, if he's going to be Charlamagne the God, and then I'm going to be Rodney the Voice. Like, Charlamagne was like, he was one of, like, besides Wendy, he was one of the people that I looked up to when it came to mess. So basically, I think that because Charlamagne, from what I remember, started out with Wendy Williams, she was a sidekick. Charlamagne really was there when a lot of this mess was happening. That's why I'm always sometimes kind of confused. Maybe because him and Wendy fell out, I think, through Kevin, and he's not as messy, I guess, as he used to be with Wendy. Because at one point, Charlamagne used to be not almost, like disrespectful. I think that some people don't remember, some people don't know about that. It's kind of like Candy Burris. Some people didn't know that Candy was a part of a group called Escape. A lot of people just know not a lot, but some people just know Candy through Housewives. They only knew her as a housewife. They didn't know her life before Housewives. So I think there are some people out there who really don't know that Charlamagne used to be the sidekick to Wendy Williams. I think it's bullshit when Charlamagne sometimes acts as if he doesn't know some of the mess that happened back in the day. That's why I've called Charlamagne out on that. Like, Charlamagne is full of shit. There's no way you were connected to the messiest bitch. Girl, and you start acting like you ain't heard none of this. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't recall. Nigga, you recall, okay? I do think there are people out there who probably still look at Charlamagne a certain way because of how he got his come up. Charlamagne and Wendy Williams were the black E-News. They were the black Access Hollywood. They were like the black The Inquirer, right? Like they were the black media. Like Wendy Williams took over a lane and she was the like go-to person for all black news. Because she was gonna be telling who did a little, a few bumps in the bathroom. Girl, who they say is how you doing? You know how you doing stems from basically. She switched it up on her show a little bit. But how you doing is really her basically saying somebody was gay. Wendy Williams was gonna tell all the business, right? This person is gay. This person was doing coke in the restroom. This person cheated on their wife. This person has breast cancer. I think she went and told, I think Method Man's wife at the time had breast cancer. Nobody knew, and Wendy Williams told everybody. There was a mess. Wendy used to be a hot ass mess. So I'm saying all that to say that I think there are a group of people out there who still remember Charlamagne for his works, and they haven't really forgotten how he used to move, especially. He's kind of calmed down a lot in comparison to how he used to be back in the day. I think that Dame Dash wanted to get his lick back at Charlamagne. And I think that his way of getting his lick back was to pull one of the oldest tricks out of the book. I'm going to attack your masculinity. I'm going to say that you're gay, and I'm going to call you stupid. I'm going to say that you're gay. I'm going to call you dumb. I'm going to say that you're gay, right? And then I'm going to say my house is bigger than yours. Once I see that I'm really not getting under your skin and everything that you're saying, everything I'm saying to you is a joke, you're laughing at me like in real life, Charlamagne thought that Dame Dash, he thinks that Dame Dash is a joke. Dame Dash reminds me, I felt like Dame Dash reminded me in that interview of the uncle that is always drunk, and at the family reunion, people know that he likes to, he's a little heavy on the bottle, and he may make a point every now and again, but for the most part, people don't pay him any attention because he just be talking. That's what Dame was giving to me. And I felt like Charlamagne looked at Dame in the interview just as a big joke. Everything that he did was laughable, right? As far as through the eyes of Charlamagne. He laughed the entire interview. I don't think he took Dame Dash seriously, not 1 second. And I think that was getting underneath Dame's skin, because I've called you stupid, right? I've called you gay. I've called you dumb. I've called you gay. I've said you're not masculine. I've called you gay. And now I have to pull out the big guns and say that my house is bigger than yours. Where do you live? My house is bigger than yours. I've said you don't know business. I've called you stupid. I've called you gay again. I think that a part of his reason for doing this interview was to really just have a back and forth with Charlamagne. I really do. Oh, excuse me. I think that this lie that likes to be pushed by men and by women, that men don't gossip, that's a bullshit lie. I want to talk about the gays in just a little bit. I'm going to talk about y'all right now. Y'all get on my fucking nerves. When I see y'all on the internet, girl, with straight dick in your mouth, It drives me insane. Dame Dash, even though, yes, was it directed towards me? Not necessarily, but it also gave me an idea how he looks at gay people as a whole. So for some people to get down to the internet and act as if what Dame Dash was doing, him using gay as a weapon, using gay as a slur, wasn't homophobic when it actually was. Him referring to Charlamagne as basically not a good portrait of masculinity due to what he says is the fact that Wendy Williams was his OG. You can't be a great representation of masculinity because a woman was your mentor. A woman put you on. You gossip. That's feminine. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. No disrespect. I think you're gay. And then you'll have gay men who will get down to the internet and will be like, oh, I didn't really see what he said that was so homophobic. I didn't really see what he said that was so wrong. I didn't see him using gay in a derogatory way because he packaged it up in a certain way. He just straight up called Charlamagne a faggot. That's why you can't grasp of the way that he was using gay was a slur. And the way that he also said that when he looks at basically gay men, you're not even a man. You're a girl. You're not even masculine because you're gay. That was his whole thing. He just packaged it up in a way where it wasn't just you're a faggot and you suck dick and you take dick up your asshole. You see what I'm saying? This thing of gossip being gender specific. I want all y'all to stop that. I really do. It is absolutely ironic the people who hated Charlamagne the most have now caught on to the game and they realize that, oh, right, because of course, gossip was always associated with women, gay men, and if you gossip, if you're gay, you're a woman. You see what I'm saying? That's why, like the gays, y'all gonna have to get out of the. I get it. This was a verbal spar between two frenemies. Dame Dash, who just wanted to get his lick back at Charlamagne. Yes, we can sometimes remove ourselves out of it, but girl, we also have to listen to what people are saying. And even though, girl, I know that he's really just trying to piss Charlamagne off, you're also saying something that could be disrespectful and affect people outside of Charlamagne. Because the fact of the matter is Charlamagne says he's not gay, so he's not gay. Well, let me take that back because a lot of niggas say they ain't gay. And they definitely be gay. So I'm gonna take that back. Girl, because the niggas be gay. Okay. But what I'm saying is he was using it in this conversation. It's kind of like the best way I can put it is from a black person, right? Who happens to be also gay and a list of other things. If a white person calls a black person a nigga, even though it wasn't directed to you, girl, we're still going to label that person as racist. Even though it could have been a fight like Erica Mena and Spice, and Erica Mena was referring to Spice as a monkey. Erica Mena didn't call me a monkey. She didn't call you a monkey. She called Spice a monkey and other black people monkeys. But we're not going to let that slide because you're showing your slip. You've been showing your slip. So even with Dame, rapping in shiny paper and not just outright calling Charlamagne a faggot like he wanted to say, it's still it's homophobic because of the way that he's using it in this conversation. He's using it as a slur. He's using it to show the audience he's not masculine. You know why? Because one, he gossips. He sit here, that's a feminine trait. Oh, also, no disrespect, but you're gay. Anyways, I'm done with that part. Back to the gossip part. There are so many men now who have caught on to the game that if I just get a microphone and a camera, I can make a little bit of money or a whole lot of money, right? So it is kind of mind-boggling how, like, at one point, you know, Charlamagne was looked at as a bitch. Still looked at as a bitch to some people, especially Dame Dash. But now you have, you know, Joe Budden and Cameron and Mace and Matt. All the boys have a podcast or a YouTube channel, right? Even LeBron James, I know he had a show, I think it was on HBO called The Barbershop or The Shop, where it's basically just men sitting around the shop because they're mimicking real life because that's what happens. This whole idea that men don't gossip is a bullshit lie. Bitch, go to the barbershop. Well, you probably can't go, but go to the barbershop one day. Sometimes some of the barbers will pull back. I will say this much: when girls walk in, some of them don't give a damn. But those who have experienced a barbershop like I have I was just having a conversation about this with my barber the other day. I swear to God on my grandmother's grave. We were just talking about, he has his own suite. And he was talking about, he's a straight man. He was talking about how he didn't even like working in big barbershops because he said it was, this is what he said, it was unprofessional and the conversations they used to have were very ignorant. And this is from my barber who is straight. The conversations that they have, the way that you will have people who will sit in the barbershop an hour before they get their hair cut and then sit in the barbershop 2 hours after they get their hair cut and sit there and argue about Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Girl, they might not be talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but they're going to be arguing about, you know, the nigga who just got shot in the street. Man, them niggas was beefing. Man, this nigga at my job. Blah, 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 blah. Man, these gay people, blah, 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 blah. Girl, it's a mess. Men talk and they gossip just as much as women. And all of these podcasts that are happening should show y'all that that is a fact. It's just that people have associated gossip with women and gay men for the longest. But it's always been everybody. It is not gender specific. Please believe it. I remember Matt Barnes was on vacation. I think Matt Barnes, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt Barnes was on vacation. When all the shit broke down with Nia Long and her baby daddy fiance, remember when he cheated on her with somebody, the I don't know, some white woman. I think it was a white lady. And Matt Barnes was on vacation and ran to the bathroom and was like, "Y'all won't believe this shit. They say that so and so. They say that Usofo was somebody. I can't say who it is though. And y'all want to talk about niggas don't gossip shit." Matt couldn't wait to run to the bathroom and lock the door and tell us the tea. Shit. So this thing again about men gossiping is just not true. Attacking someone's masculinity because they don't perform it the way that you feel like they perform it is bullshit. Dame did everything he could do in that interview to attack Charlamagne's manhood and then started to feel away when Charlamagne attacked his back. You could sit here and call this man gay, but then when he says that you are a Harlem auntie, then all of a sudden, if we were on the street, I would whoop your fucking ass. Would you really? You're weak. This is what he said. You're weak because remember when Charlamagne ran away, he was about to get jumped. I think it was due to the Lil Mama interview. Remember he made Lil Mama cry in an interview? This was on Breakfast Club. I think that's what that stemmed from. And some dudes saw him in the street and were about to jump him, and he took off running. Dame Dash's idea of being a man is basically sitting there and fighting, right? He says that he's been jumped by 30 dudes before. Now, I'm almost sure that's an exaggeration. He says half of them got their ass whooped. Dame, you ain't got jumped by no 30 people and you whooped half of their ass. If you did, it's because they didn't have no arms or legs. Hello? You ran from men. Your OG is a woman. You're gay. You started in gossip. You're worried about girl stuff. Men don't do things that you're supposed to do. Men need to be doing things they're supposed to do as men. Would you want this guy with you? He can't protect you. He was talking to Lauren when he asked him that, because he was basically saying that if you were with Charlamagne, if guys walked up to you, you would have to run away with him. But the fact of the matter is, if it's four, if there y'all niggas don't be that strong. Can we just call it a thing? Y'all act like y'all motherfuckers is Bruce Lee. And I put basically like he's naming things that really are associated with, I hate to say it because some people don't like when you say it, toxic masculinity, right? You ran from men during a fight, even though it was a group of them, 4 or 5 of them versus one. Also, your OG is a woman. Your mentor is a woman. So how can you know about masculinity when your mentor is a woman? You're gay. So you definitely don't know about masculinity because you're gay. You started in gossip. Even though now you look up, everybody is doing the same thing. Straight and gay. Non-binary, non-gender conforming. Man, woman, girl, even some of the children. Okay? Doesn't matter the sexuality or gender identity. Girl, they down to the YouTube or down to somebody's podcast. I put masculine men is associated with degenerate behavior. It's no disrespect. I think you're gay. You act a little gay. You started in gossip, which is very feminine. I put Dame is 55 talking about fighting. When was the last time we heard Dame squabbling in the streets? Dame disrespects him, and when Charlamagne the God says you acting like a Harlem auntie, now it's if we were in the street, I would have fucked you up. The whole thing was, as much as people act as if like men don't get emotional, because emotions when it comes to like emotions outside of like basically violent behavior, it's always attached to women. Dame couldn't even stay in his seat. He kept getting up, standing up, sitting down, sitting up. Like you're all over the place. You're the emotional one in this equation. Everybody else is sitting down. You're getting worked up over words. And Charlamagne isn't really even just saying anything. At one point, I will say Charlamagne and DJ Envy were kind of getting on my nerves. I was like, let the nigga talk. Like, it's kind of like, let the drunk nigga talk so he could just make a bigger fool of himself. Where I'm from, the masculine man will fuck you up. And I put, do you still live there? You know, I hate when y'all pull the, oh, where I'm from, where I grew up, girl. And as soon as you get a little bit of shang-a-lang-a-lang, your black ass move away from the very spot that you always claim, you know, holds a special place in your heart. Have y'all noticed that? I noticed that the year when that fight happened between Monique and Candace, how there were so many people online talking about where I'm from. But girl, y'all don't even live there no more. Because as soon as you get your first big YouTube check or your first big podcast check or your first big check, girl, you move on to what a white folk lives. You moving out the motherfucking block. Ain't been to the block ever since you got your first big check. But they ain't want to get on talking about where I'm from. Do you still live where you from? I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you probably live over there in Soho, Tribeca. Hey! I'm sure you probably live somewhere over there in the Hollywood Hills. The interview was a mess. That's what it comes down to. The interview was a mess. Dame is just one of those people where I could see him making some points, right? What he said about the child support, if I really was behind on child support. And I correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know. I don't owe child support. For the most part, if it gets to a point where you could be behind, right? But if you don't pay, your ass is going to jail. So I guess his whole point was, if it really got to the point where I wasn't paying my child support, even if I got behind, my ass would be in jail, and I ain't never went to jail on no child support. So some things I was like, okay, I could see that makes sense. But for a lot of it, I just felt like it was an interview to kind of like down DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God, specifically Charlamagne the God. And the way that he did that was basically just saying that he was gay and calling him stupid. You're gay, you're stupid, you're gay, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're gay. Oh, my house is bigger than yours. Oh, and you're gay, and you're stupid, you're dumb, you don't know anything about business. Oh, and did I say you were gay? Even to the point where at one point he left the interview and a guy that he was with came up and he sat on the couch behind him and he was literally in the background screaming, "You're gay!" Because in his head, if I can get out there to the masses that Charlamagne is a gay man, then at that point that strips him of his identity. And after that, you're nothing. You're not a man. You're not masculine. You're not black. You don't breathe. You don't exist. You know why? Because you're gay. So I'm going to make sure that I keep pounding in folks' head, the listener's head, that Charlamagne the God is gay. And I'm going to scream, and even when I'm sitting on this back couch, I'm going to scream it from this couch and say, "You're gay." It is what it is. At this point, I am a grown-ass man. If the Lord says the same, come on, baby. My birthday is next month, October. And I'm turning a year older. I'm doing okay. And I've dealt with this a long time, so it's nothing, I will say this much. It doesn't necessarily per se bother me, because this is kind of like, it's like I've grown kind of like numb to it. However, it does sometimes, when I think about the men who still may be struggling with their sexuality, when I think about the children who may be struggling with their sexuality like I was and like other gay men were when they were kids, it does kind of make me feel a certain way, because I'm like, oh, when people listen to this interview, even though I do believe that Dame's whole point was to disrespect Charlamagne, and he doesn't care, but there are a group of people listening to this interview, and the way that you keep throwing gay, 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 gay out there, like Dame is part of the reason why people don't come out. You're telling Charlamagne, I think you're gay, you should just come out. But the people that are listening are not going to come out, and Dame is the reason why, because look how you're throwing gay out there. What person, we're going to talk about men, what man is going to come out after listening to an interview if they're already struggling with their sexuality and they hear how you're using this in an argument? What child is going to grow up being comfortable with their sexuality when they listen to The Breakfast Club and they hear how this person is using it in an interview? Now, of course, for me, it may ring a little different because, one, I'm gay, right? So other people may not see the issue in what Dame is doing. But those of us who see the issue knows it's a fucking issue. Again, was I just watching the interview like boiling upset? No. I thought I was, but I was like, I'm not. When I was watching, I was like, okay, this is some bullshit. This is just like ignorant nigga shit. It really is. It's ignorant nigga shit. Dame Dash is a man. It's not to excuse ignorance, because it's not to excuse ignorance. Dame is a man of a particular age. He's a nigga. I'm not surprised that he thinks this way. I'm just not. I would be surprised if he thought the opposite. That surprises me. I'm not surprised when I hear Dr. Heavenly, Dame Dash, and other people also believe that because you're gay, that takes away your masculinity. Because you're gay, you're no longer a man. Because you're gay, you no longer possess any type of manhood. It does not shock me. It shocks me when I hear people who don't think that way. It does make me feel a certain way because I start to think about the people who are struggling with their sexuality, and I firsthand know how that shit can be. It really bothers me when I start to think about the children who may run across this Breakfast Club interview, right? And then it kind of pushes them back into that cocoon. But to me, that's just another nigga who just ignorant. You know? I know I was all over the place in this video. Like I said, I didn't really take any notes. Well, this is what happened. Okay, I clearly took a little bit of notes. I watched the clip that went viral, and I was like, let me just take a few notes. And then I actually made a video. And as I was driving to the mall, I started listening to the interview. I was like, let me just listen to this Dame Dash interview. I never listened to the Breakfast Club. And so then I came home, and so I was like, let me just do a whole nother video since I have more to talk about. So I scraped the first video, and I had these couple of notes that I took down from the 3-minute viral clip. So yeah, it is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Yeah, I think I'm done. I ain't got nothing else to say. It is what it is, girl. These niggas is ignorant. Girl, even some of the bitches. We're gonna just call it what it is, girl. The girls be ignorant. The niggas be ignorant. Girl, the way that some of y'all still believe that gossip is a female trait. I saw people in the comment section, oh, my mom, my daddy, my uncle. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. The motherfuckers be down to the barbershop talking just as much as the bitches do. Please believe it. You think that when they be in a man cave with the homeboys, what the fuck you think they be talking about? Girl, they just be there quiet. You think that when they playing the game with their homeboys, they ain't talking about nothing? They're just playing a game. When y'all be in the bed at night, girl, having pillow talk with your man, what the fuck is that? Oh, y'all don't call it gossip. Y'all just call it pillow talk. You gossiping with your man. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas gossip. It's not gender specific. Stop it. Your daddy gossip, your uncle gossip, girl, your brother's gossip, your twin brother gossip, girl, your best friend gossip, girl, your teacher gossip. They do. They just don't call it gossip. I'm just gonna hang out with the boys. I'm gonna have a couple of drinks with the boys. I'm gonna go play the game with the boys. I'm gonna go to the barbershop and get my hair cut. And in the midst of them playing a game with the boy, right? And in the midst of them having some cocktails, or they call them drink, we're gonna have a couple of drinks. Having some drinks, we call them cockies over here. We have some cocktails. Having a couple of cocktails with the boys, right? At the barbershop, girl, they're gossiping. And now a lot of these men are making bank off the very thing that they would talk about Charlamagne for doing, right? Now you have Joe Budden who's making millions and millions of dollars. The niggas have caught on. I remember a few weeks ago I saw, what was the nigga name? What's his name? Chauncey Chandler. Somebody, what's the guy name from remember he has a show, is it called The Pivot? And he was basically saying that he still looks at Russell Wilson as a lame. The way that y'all the ideas that a lot of people have that they're attached to masculinity is absolutely insane. I guarantee you, if Charlamagne was a degenerate terrorist in the community, Dame Dash wouldn't have anything to say about Charlamagne the God's sexuality. If he was an ignorant nigga, I bet you at that point, like a lot of people will consider Charlamagne masculine and a great representation for masculinity. And that's a man. Dame Dash is walking around here pushing 55, talking about fighting. Dame Dash, when was the last time we saw you got into a fight? Like, it be the girls who be like, girl, we all say we'll to knock somebody upside their head, but girl, in real life, girl, when was the last time you actually really got into a fist fight? Girl, like, for real. When was the last time you actually really just got into a bona fide fist fight at 50 years old? 55. I think Google said Dame is 54, 55. Anyways, I'm done. All right, I'm gone. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good day. Bye, y'all.